There we go. I was wondering what was going to take so long. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Black Sheep Weather's live severe weather coverage for the Twin Cities Metro in western Wisconsin. A little bit of a late start, and things kind of start on right off. The yellow area you see on the map there, that is the tornado watch that was issued for the Metro in western Wisconsin. Goes all the way up to the Iron Range, up towards Bemidji Baxter. That's Long Lake. Cross Lake, rather, at 61. You can see that runs all the way down to La Crosse, over to Eau Claire, Wausau, and up to Merrill. Of note to the Metro is this line of storms that has blown up here across Scott County, down into Rice County, into Steele County, continues on down towards Austin. That is now severe warned for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. So far, nothing tornadic in our area, thank heavens. But that may well change. Looking back farther to the west, closer to the low-pressure center itself, see, the storm is now tornado warned west of Benson and well outside of our area. But that is an observed tornado warning. Confirmed tornado 8 miles west of Benson, or 21 miles south of Morris. And new severe thunderstorm warning just popped up, and that is for the area around Dashiell and Wright County and Meeker County. That would be that cell right there. Notice the tornado possible tag on that one with 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. My next guess, if I was a betting man, I would say this storm here in Scott County would be the next county. That's Carver County, sorry. Carver County will be the next one to get severe warned, especially down here. Looking at that little notch down here by Hydes Lake, just southwest of Waconia. That's a little sus looking. I'll peek at velocities real quick. Velocity signature says I am, there's a little bit. That storm's trying to get its act together right here. Again, right there by Hydes Lake. Yeah, it's trying. It will probably. Going back to regular reflectivity. I just realized I'm missing something here, so let me get that back up. If it will, and of course it's not going to because I'm live. That's how these things work, so let's get that little bit up and running. Just 1 second here. Okay, there we go. Now let's see if that'll show up like it's supposed to. There we go. And that will pop up here in a second, hopefully. There we go. Part of it's there. Where's the rest of it? It's also a little behind today, it would seem. Yeah, it's a little confused. So let's see if I can fix that real quick. That's going to make me a little irritated right about now. Okay, so let me okay, so that's that. It's all there. Okay. 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 Let's try that. And there's that. As I was saying, there's that severe thunderstorm warning now down here in Carver County going into far southeastern Wright County. Again, that is for that cell just west of Waconia, southeast of Mare. And that is for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and a tornado possible tag on that one. So, just when we thought nothing was going to, whoa, that's a big tornado warning out there. Holy buckets. I did not expect to see a warning that size. So southwestern Pope, southeastern Stevens, and eastern Swift counties. Severe thunderstorm was located near Benson, moving north at 40. But having said that, that's this cell right here. But they've got that issued for that whole line. So I'm wondering, I would love to know what the thought process is in Chanhassen right now for the size of that warning. I don't disagree with it, but I don't necessarily agree with it. So let's see. Trying to figure out why something isn't quite there we go. Okay, that's better. Yeah, something's not quite right in the state of Denmark here. I apologize, everybody. Things are just a little goofy today, and sat down and fired everything up and realized that nothing was working quite the way it was supposed to. And I'm like, this worked perfectly before. Okay, that's gonna have to do it. I don't like it, but it's gonna have to do. So I want to know why these aren't displaying. That's not right. Okay. And that's your thunderstorm warning down here towards Northfield in Faribault. That's been trimmed back. Steele County's out of it. Dodge County's out of it. Northfield, Faribault, you're getting it right now. And then up towards Northfield, towards Kenyon, Elko New Market, soon to be heading up towards Cannon Falls, getting into the South Metro, south of the river, towards Rosemount, Farmington, Lakeville. You're the line of the path of these storms. The whole storm system is moving northeast, but the individual cells are racing to the north. So it's going to be kind of an interesting look to the warnings. You're going to see a lot of boxes pointing slightly to the northwest, even though the whole line itself is slowly moving a little bit east of due north. So that is why some of those warnings look a little different. All right, taking a look at everything right now, we are blissfully quiet, which is not a bad thing. I will take blissfully quiet at this point. Right now it is, like I said, quiet. The number of severe thunderstorm warnings here in the metro. Wright County's got 2, one for a cell just over Cokato. That is a tornado possible tagged storm with 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. That will expire in 21 minutes here at the top of the hour at 2 o'clock. With the same thing for this other warning in southeastern Wright County going down into Carver County, and that will expire again at 2 o'clock. And then we have the big severe thunderstorm warning that stretches from Shakopee all the way back towards Jordan, down towards Elko New Market, Northfield, Kenyon. That is all moving to the northeast. And that is not tornado tagged. It is just 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds, and those are moving northeast at 35. So the storm I'm looking at right now, the most interest is this cell here. I'm pretty sure it's going to say that it's moving northeast at 35, north at 30. Okay. So let's grab that centroid there, and let's just see what we would have in the path of this. Okay. There we go. Come on, software. Work with me here. Or not. Trying to... It's doing it backwards. That's what it is. There we go. So north, there we go, at 30. So we're looking at Watertown in about 8 minutes, Montrose in 23, Buffalo in 38, Maple Lake in 45, Monticello in 54, Silver Creek in an hour. So that is that cell. This cell over Cokato will do the same thing. And it's moving north at 30. So French Lake in about 16 minutes, Annandale in 25, South Haven 29, Fairhaven 33. Rather rural area out there in far eastern Meeker County and western Wright County. I have to remember what mode I'm in, otherwise I'm just going to keep dragging these cells around. So let's look at that one. That one says moving northeast at 35. So if we do that, we have Marystown in about 5 minutes, Prior Lake in 10, Shakopee in 13, the Bloomington Ferry in about 20, Eden Prairie in 22, Edina in 30, Hopkins in 32, getting up towards Calhoun Beach and Golden Valley in about 40 minutes, Mendota in 40, Lilydale in 45, MSP in about 42, getting over towards Falcon Heights and the St. Paul Fairground, the State Fairgrounds in St. Paul, about 50 minutes. And getting all the way up into Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Columbia Heights, and the far north metro over towards Lina Lakes, and that would be in about an hour. So right now, The worst of the weather is nowhere near us. It is actually out in western Minnesota, which I don't think that will stay that way. So if you look at the analysis, you can see the low pressure center here just north of Sioux Falls, where the mouse is rotating. And there's the cold front coming in the blue line. The yellow line, or the red line with the bumps on it, that is our warm front. You know, so there's a very slender little area there where the warm sector is. This is where the good juicy storm fuel is. Now, the last analysis I saw from the Storm Prediction Center, they had the front running. I'm going to see if I can draw a line in here. They had the warm front more up here. The cold front more down here. And then of peculiar interest to me was right here in the middle was a dry line. So you have very warm, juicy air behind the warm front. You still have very warm air here, but it's much drier. And then here behind the cold front, of course, you're obviously getting into the cold, dry air that's going to be coming in and really giving us the deep freeze. I shouldn't say deep freeze. That's farther north. And I'm just going to see if I can pull up this watch light. Bear with me here. They just issued a new discussion for the region. I'm going to take a look at it. Twin Cities vicinity. Oh, okay. I'm going to actually see if I can drag this in. So I'm just looking at my email at the moment. I get a lot of weather products in from email. And so I'm going to have to pull this up a different way because it's being a pain, as it always does. There we go. And this is specifically for the Twin Cities Metro. And so what I want to do is see if I can grab this real quick. The other Firefox window. Too many things open at once, and I'm like, where am I at? Okay. It's not showing the specific piece I want to show you. Okay, so that's not going to work. I apologize. So, just to read from this, the summary of the regional discussion is focused specifically on the Twin Cities metro area and a regional scale, not regional scale, but kind of an in-between, not the like one or two town scale, but more of a county-wide scale. There it is. Now it's showing up on the map. Good. But you can see the smaller little bullseye here going from central Anoka County down towards Dodge County, Steele County, covering most of the metro and a bit south. That little bullseye in there, that is the latest Storm Prediction Center discussion for an enhanced risk of tornadic supercells forming due to an area of increased instability and rotation in this area. So what that means is if you're watching from the Twin Cities, yep, it is time to not be scared, be prepared, get your plans ready, and know where you need to go and how you need to get there in case a tornado warning is issued, which, given we have several tornado possible warnings on these, like those two. Those will expire in about 15 minutes. Still have an observed tornado near Lake Hassel, or 22 miles southeast of Morris, moving north at 50. And that tornado has been on the ground for a little while here. I'm going to take off a little bit of the data here because it's getting a little cluttered and hard to see. It's like I know what I'm looking at, and that's a little crazy. So let's drop. I'll drop the watch boxes off. That'll help. What I did add is the severe weather outlook, the categorical. So it's kind of hard to see because it's getting really cluttered in here. But basically the eastern half of the metro, so from Red Wing up towards Hastings, back out towards Coon Rapids, Maple Grove, going farther north up towards Malacca, Foley. Everything to the east, and including western Wisconsin, is in an enhanced risk. We're at a slight risk here in the western metro into southeastern Minnesota, and that extends actually quite a ways to the north, including Duluth, Grand Rapids, all the way up towards Fergus Falls. And then outside of that, back into the Dakotas, far northern Minnesota up into the Arrowhead, and then the rest of southwest Minnesota, that's a general risk of thunderstorms, general storms, nothing severe there. But what is of most interest with this is I'm going to switch this off. I'm going to switch over to the tornado possibilities. And in this dark brown, across all of the metro and in southeast Minnesota, that is a 5% chance of tornadoes, which is actually, oh, hold on, we're gonna hold that thought right there. Just got a tornado warning in for Elko, Newmarket. That's hard for me to say. That is for southeastern Scott County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over Elko, Newmarket, 13 miles northwest of Northfield, and that is moving north at 55 miles an hour. So these storms are cooking when they're getting going. So let's grab that, take that cell. Of course, it's not going to let me grab it now. Of course not. Why would it? Thank you. I just want to grab this, move it up. There we go. Okay. Let's grab that. That's the circulation in question. What's really funny is I use this software all the time. I don't know why I'm having so many problems with it today. And it's going to give me an absolute nothing. There we go. There we go. Well, mostly. If I do, that's going to show me the reverse timeline, which is not what I'm looking for. I'm going to zoom in there. That storm is actually starting to look fairly intense. I want to look at this a different way. Bear with me here. There we go. So I'm going to do a split view here, which is not something I do that often. Now we don't need correlation coefficient, I hope. Velocity signature. Here's Elko, Newmarket. Here's that area right here. That's that little bit of rotation that's starting to form up. I'm going to switch radar views real quick. This is a different radar. This is the radar out of Cottage Grove. This is the FAA radar that they use for detecting wind shear and small-scale meteorological impacts for the airport to determine whether there's going to be a ground stop or flight delays coming in or out. And looking at this storm down by Elko, Newmarket, it looks rather hooky right here. Same thing on the other radar. So I'm going to switch out and go to velocity data on this. It's messy. Yeah, there's some data folding issues because it can't quite determine what's going on, but you do see the distinct increase here. Yeah, I'm really curious about what this storm's going to do. I don't have a good feeling about it. It's one of those where they tell you meteorology is not, it's a science, not a gut feeling, but sometimes the gut feeling will do it just as well. If you look at all of these storms that are forming, you'll see that they're all starting to get that same linear streak off to the northeast. Here, here. What I'm really looking at is this storm down here by Northfield, over by Dundas. That storm has got my attention. Northfield, I would say go ahead and take your safe shelter. Go ahead and get in your safe space. It may not do anything, but this is one of those where I'd rather we all be prepared. Right there's that little pocket of rotation just coming into Dundas. It'll be in Northfield in no time flat. So yeah, Cannon Falls, you're farther down the line with this. I think it'll miss you. Let me look. Yeah, it'll go right there between probably Coates, Empire, and Cannon Falls, closer to Vermilion Empire. Going straight up County Road 47 there, from Northfield going all the way up towards Hastings. Just follow right up that corridor. looking to see if there's any update. I don't know what's going on, why this is not showing any of the warnings that are coming in. Oh. Not how I wanted to try to figure out my day and get things working. I think I know why. Okay, so let's try that. Okay. Okay, let's try that again. Hopefully the next warning that triggers will show it to it. We'll see it right away. But as I was saying before, that tornado warning popped up down here towards Elko New Market. This orange area running from the eastern half of Chisago County, just clipping the far northeastern corner of Washington County, and then running down through New Richmond, all the way down through Wausau, Stevens Point, down to Portage, down into Milwaukee and Chicago. That is all a 10% tornado risk. The hatching indicates EF2 or stronger tornadoes possible. Getting into the point of likely, it's a 10% or greater chance is what that is showing. So that is a fairly substantial little risk area there. It has been floating back and forth and showing up as possibly getting a little bit more into the metro, but they keep trimming it back and forth, so it's kind of been interesting. Take a look at the winds. 30% chance. The eastern half of the metro here. And that is covering Anoka County, Washington County, Chisago, Isanti, and just a little bit of Dakota County. But that's a 30% risk. This is a 15. Either way, there's a pretty good chance we're going to see some strong winds out of these storms. And hail all the way back to Duluth, back out towards Benson, Wilmer, all the way back down towards the Twin Cities, coming down along just southwest of Jordan to Rochester. That is a 15% chance of hail. It is hatched, meaning there is a possibility of 2-inch or larger hail. The red area that covers northern Washington, Anoka, Chisago, up towards Pine County, and then most of Wisconsin, that is a 30% chance, again, hatched, meaning 2-inch or larger hail possible. So this is a fairly potent system, but it's not that close to us. That's the issue with it. We're just right on the edge of it, and all it takes is a little bit happening there, and things get very interesting very quickly. There we go. Zoom in on that storm down here by Elko New Market. The area right there, County Road 91, County Road 62, just north of Elko New Market. That's about where the rotation would be in this scan. We know it's moving north rapidly, so it's going to pass Eastern Credit River. It's going to be west of Lakeville. And there's not a lot up there. I mean, there's homes, there's definitely development, but until you start getting up towards Savage, and you've crossed over County Road 44 here, and you're getting up well into the urbanized metro, there's not a lot. Otherwise, it's all severe thunderstorm warnings out here in our area. The one outlying tornado warning out here still observed as of about 10 minutes ago. Still have a confirmed tornado located over Lake Hassel, moving northeast at, where we go, north of 50. That's the northeast, I apologize. North of 50. So, again, there are storms that are tornadic, but looking closer to home here at the metro, just the one tornado warned storm right now, Elko New Market. This area down towards Northfield that I was a little suspicious of, that's starting to get really organized as a line. Once this starts to happen, generally it's only the cell to the south, the southernmost cell, that will usually try to become severe and go tornadic. The reason is that you have moisture flow coming in from the southeast, south-southeast, basically coming up this line of storms. This is the effective warm front coming through. And so what happens is all these storms down by Rochester will eventually start to choke off the moisture and the warmth feed coming in from the southeast going into these storms near the metro. Having said that, I would not rule out anything in the metro. Not at all. All hazards are there. I don't want to say we're out of it. We're not even close to out of it. I do notice we are starting to cloud up a bit more here in the North Metro. Here at Black Sheep, we are just outside Anoka, and yeah, it's getting darker. It's starting to actually look severely overcast, but it's still warmed up quite nicely. Anoka Blaine is reporting 81 degrees and light rain, 79 at Crystal, 75, probably a thunderstorm. Lightning distance south and southwest. Okay, so yeah, Buffalo's seeing this storm at the time of observation about 20 minutes ago. It wasn't close enough for it to report a thunderstorm. So I'm going to try fixing this one more time here. The setup for the overlay that I use for displaying watches and warnings is temperamental to say the least. So what I'm going to do is I want to... Yes. Okay. Comma. There. Oh. Oh, come on. What? Okay. Hopefully, this will fix our little alert problem. I was working on it, trying to get it to show different detail of how it handled the watches and warnings. Unfortunately, it is just not wanting to do it for me. So, I'm going to put it back to where it was. Turn off these mesoscale discussions. They're cluttering the screen at this point. Come on. There. And as of 2 o'clock, all the severe thunderstorm warnings were allowed to expire for the metro area. The tornado warning is still in effect for another 15 minutes. That is for that cell down by Elko Newmarket. What the? There we go. Okay. I was like, the loop stopped. I'm like, those storms should be there. Okay. Now the question is, and this is kind of the big thought process that's been happening, the Storm Prediction Center, probably happening over at Chanhassen too at the Weather Service. With this warm front coming through, the cold front is still back here. So where these little storms are starting to bubble up out here towards Marshall, getting out towards Mountain Lake and Mankato, Newham, that's that little wedge of warm, juicy air that's out there. Will we get more severe storms blowing up out here on the cold front? That is the question. I'm really kind of looking at this. This is the warm front through the metro. This little pocket up here out by Benson where the tornado warning is out there, that, looking at just the observations behind it, that is actually the dry line. Looking at the wind directions, they don't shift to the west until, yeah, farther back here. So we're looking... We get some time left, and it's going to be a bumpy afternoon. So the question is, are we going to have one round or two? That's going to be the $64,000 question I wish I could answer quickly. My guess is no. We're not going to have two rounds. I think this round is going to work over the atmosphere pretty well, and that will take us out and leave us kind of dull and boring for the day. Dear overlay software, you're starting to bother me. Okay. Okay. Let's try this one more time. If I have to, I will drop off of the Minnesota-Wisconsin feed that I have set up, and I will just unfortunately have to pull all warnings to get any of them to show up, which is going to clutter things greatly in terms of what you're seeing on the screen. But unfortunately, I think that may be what has to happen. Waiting to see if they decide to reissue either a new severe thunderstorm warning or continue the tornado warning coming up into Hennepin County and more of Dakota County. That storm is riding right on the edge of that warning polygon. So right there, where the 35 split on the South Metro, it's right coming up on there. It's going to drift up over 35W, and just looking at the pattern it's taking, it is drifting to the east a little bit, so it's kind of following this line. That started way too far back. But yeah, so let's do that again. Let's clear up this line. There we go. Forgot I can't drag it past a certain point in the screen, otherwise it's like, no, you're trying to go too far. So we're looking at Burnsville in about 6 minutes, Bloomington in 10, Edina in 15, downtown Minneapolis 22, Lake Cal, Madawaska, and St. Louis Park in about 20 minutes. So that is that storm that is currently tornado warned. It is a radar indicated tornado, so it is not on the ground, but this is the kind of day where you don't want to wait and see if it's going to be on the ground or not. You want to make sure you're taking your precautions. Getting indoors, getting away from windows, putting as many walls as you can between you and the outside world. If you have the ability, get underground, in the basement, or a crawl space shelter. Yeah, it's not the best way to spend an afternoon, but it's far better to do that than it is to wind up being injured or worse, because where you're at happened to get hit by a tornado and things did not go well. Looking at this from the Cottage Grove radar again, this little pocket right here, just about to come out of the warning polygon up towards Savage and Burnsville. It's going to go right between, mostly over Savage, go right into Old Bloomington along 35W, and then where 35W kind of bows in a little bit, coming up towards the Bloomington Strip. That's going to follow 35 right up there through Southwest Minneapolis, up through Kingfield, up into pretty much downtown, right over Loring Heights, Stevens Square, right into the North Loop. And then it'll continue off in the northeast and up towards Fridley and Columbia Heights. But that's the one cell. Now looking at the rest of these, they don't look quite as impressive as they did because I'm looking at the FAA radar in Cottage Grove. That's the, so there. Aha. What do we have here? So we have a convergence boundary setting up right here. Aha, oh yeah. Right here, coming basically Litchfield, down towards Glencoe, down towards New Prague and Lonsdale. There's another little line from about, oh, what is that? Plato. I don't remember the name of the town. Plato down towards Arlington, trailing back. Yeah, there's something going, yeah, back towards New Sweden. There's another line there. Wish we could see a little better farther back here into the Marshall area. Unfortunately, you're looking high enough in the atmosphere that it's really hard to see what's happening. Because you notice all those lines disappeared. Those are called fine lines. Usually those are indicative of either an outflow boundary or you're looking at a convergence signature, which is where two air masses are starting to come together. You get a concentration of moisture, and so that shows up as an increasing set of returns from the radar. So I would be looking at that. I'm also watching this cell that's coming up. About to move into Renville County here. Just north of Mountain Lake out towards Comfrey and Darfur. That's going to move up probably towards New Ulm. I'll look here. The storm's new enough. I'm not quite used to the motion out here because these storms are just developing. So these are moving definitely more to the northeast. That's going to go just a little west of New Ulm. Come on. Yeah, I know what Benson looks like. Thank you. Apparently wants me to see what the weather looks like in Benson. 346. Yeah, they're not. Okay, Chanhassen, what's going on out there? You've got this storm, which is quickly moving out of the warning polygon. It'll be out there in about 7 minutes for that warning to expire. Just looking at how this storm is morphing on the radar. So look at that Savage Burnsville area. I'm going to zoom way in here. See this? Right in here? You can see it. It's right here, the old notch. That has definitely got my attention. A lot of times what will happen with these storms is they will cycle, meaning one area of rotation, let's say for example, could be up here. And what will happen is that will start to fall apart and start to disintegrate, but a new one will start up down here. And that's what I'm wondering if we're getting a handoff in this. Unfortunately, even with the Doppler radar over in Cottage Grove, it's really hard to tell because that's such a small scale thing that's happening. Put this in motion. We'll see if it cleans up at all. So, looking at this, watching it. Yeah. Yeah, there was a little tightening of the rotation right here. Yeah, right there. It tried. It tried to organize and it just did not get it all pulled together in time. And this is one of those cases where sometimes you get lucky and you don't get the storm even though you think you're going to. We'll look at the bigger picture. I'm going to pop off the velocity here so we can actually get a really good look at the big picture. Then what do we see? We have 2 tornado warnings expiring in a matter of minutes. 5 minutes left on the warning out here in Pope, Stevens, and Swift counties, which we've not gotten an update on now in about a half an hour. That'll expire in about 5 minutes. Same thing for the warning down here with southeastern Scott County. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with that one as well. I would not be surprised if we got a severe thunderstorm warning down here more into Dakota County. Just this area down here towards Cannon Falls. It's moving northeast up towards Oak Grove, Wisconsin, and Hastings. Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty calm. I'm going to put this into motion briefly. I want to see how things are looking up here for us in Black Sheep. And we've got a ways to go. Okay. Unless something starts to give here pretty quick, I'm starting to wonder if this is going to be another it missed the metro kind of a thing. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. All right. Okay. Sorry, but that was just looking at some things off camera here, trying to figure out. Yep, that's the, okay, now we're getting a better view of it. So right here, that arc of storms from all the way up, almost Elbow Lake, down Glenwood, coming into Paynesville, that line is pretty solid. But notice your storms developing on the southeast end of it, moving up into it. That's also connects up beautifully with this line that we were seeing, the fine line, up towards Hutchinson-Dassel, coming back down towards Norwood Young America here into New Prague. And we saw that nice finger trailing behind it. There's a couple of them actually right here. South of Glencoe and Norwood Young America back down towards Henderson Gaylord. That's where those are. watching that cell down here just lazily trying to make its way up towards New Ulm. The question is going to be whether or not these storms can make it and feed off enough of this energy to actually turn really severe, or what will happen. Just looking at this, Morris reported a wind gust of 45. The storms have definitely got a little kick to them. Benson, their peak wind gust, not reported. Wind gust of 25. I find it interesting that Morris had a stronger wind gust than Benson did, but Benson's in the tornado warning. And we're about 2 minutes away from these two warnings that we have on the board expiring. That would be the tornado warning out here in Stevens, Pope, and Swift counties. And then our little, there's nothing left in the tornado warning in southeastern Scott County. That's kind of bothering me. That warning is completely, there's nothing in it, and yet the warning is still on the board. I don't think we'll see an extension of any of the warning. I'm looking at the storm coming in over, as it comes in over Bloomington, and looking at either radar source, these look more like just general thunderstorms. However, over Lake Minnetonka, now this is one of those things where it's like you have to watch these storms like a hawk, because in this environment, something can start spinning with very little notice. Same thing. You got a little bit of a hook type echo right here north of Buffalo, up north of Lake Pulaski. That'll head up, probably cross over about Becker, and then go up towards Foley following 25. Another storm that's about to come pouring through St. Cloud. No lightning in it, just heavy rain. And then you've got the line of storms back here, back out from coming into Paynesville all the way back up to Elbow Lake, and that probably extends even farther back. Yeah, it goes all the way back to Jamestown. There's another line of storms coming up into the far northern part of the state. In other words, I think we're going to, I don't want to jinx this and say we're not going to get anything, but right now I don't think we're going to get much, which is really kind of a bummer. It's just two different systems I thought we were going to get rocked by, and nothing happened. All right, so let's see. Hey, we got thunder at Black Sheep. Very faint, but it was definitely there. It's kind of interesting. There's nothing really close to us yet. I'm not going to complain. Nope, no, I'm not. All right. I'm going to take a look at some other information here quick. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. That's not current. Sorry, everybody. I'm just looking at some other information coming in for possibility of a new watch. Storm Prediction Center really doesn't seem as wound up for things. So right now they are looking at southern Wisconsin into northern Illinois, but they also pulled La Crosse into it in some of the area around the warned by La Crosse. That's why I was looking at it going, this doesn't look like us really. It's not. That's why I was a little confused. Okay, so So, sorry, just finishing reading up, everybody. There we go. So, with this line of storms that is currently kind of wandering its way through the metro, it's a more condensed line from Rochester up through Dakota County, up towards Eagan, Burnsville, Inver Grove Heights. Another little cell here, fairly strong one at that. Richfield up towards Minneapolis, Bedamaska area, up in the Lake of the Isles. Then we've got another cell, again, pretty strong cell up towards Medina. That is actually reaching all the way up towards Corcoran. Another little pocket of rain north of Plymouth, moving up towards Maple Grove. We get another cell out here towards St. Michael. Bigger cell towards Monticello, and a decent cell going over St. Cloud. And we've got our line of storms that's moving into northwestern Minnesota. Right now, there are no warnings in our area, none. And that's part of the reason I was kind of looking at things going, okay, are we going to redevelop more activity with the edge of the dry line here? Looking at the wind directions, the front's still not gone through yet. Back here, so the front is through Montevideo. So you can see these southwest winds here versus the southeast wind at Morris versus the south wind, south wind, south wind. You look over here in the metro, we're more southeasterly, but it's definitely not westerly. It's definitely southeast. And so this is one of those cases where, yeah, that's the latest analysis here that they're showing us from the Weather Prediction Center, but those are only done every 3 hours. And a lot can change and a lot can move in those 3 hours. Which is why I'm about to take that off because it's distracting me. I'm like, no, there's nothing. Yeah, there is something there, but no, we don't need it. That's all the MDs. Yeah, that's that area. Okay. That could be interesting. So what I just brought up here is the storm reports that have come in. One right here, just west of Benson. Debris visible, tornado on the ground, Swift County. And then debris reported again at 1:40. So yeah, in 2 minutes, that's that same cell. Boy, that just barely missed the city of Benson. Just barely. So my question is going to be whether or not this little wedge of the dry line is able to kick off some storms. If it does, we could have another round of severe weather. Otherwise, we're looking back here to see what the cold front does. But having said that, with these storms having moved through, most of the metro now has been worked over by storms. There are some gaps in that, but feeding a storm in through those gaps is kind of difficult at best. So I would not be too excited if you're looking up here, say Maple Grove, Brooklyn Center, New Hope, this area, which has not really seen much of storm here in this round. Well, you're probably going to catch the back end of the cell that's coming up through Minneapolis because that's going to come in through here. There's going to be little fingers of instability that might be left over, but as we all know with thunderstorms, they will produce an outflow. They'll produce an outflow boundary, a gust front. And so what'll happen is, yeah, there's instability there, but it's going to get cut off at the surface. So you'd have to get that storm to punch up through that cold air first, then tap into the instability, then they could grow. That cell I was watching down towards New Ulm came up through from Windham up towards New Ulm. I don't think it's even going to make it to Sleepy Eye. That storm's falling apart quickly. Now, having said that, where we're watching more now at this point would be the Northeast Metro. As this area up here, there's some storms developing, but really, once you get north of Highway 10, there's nothing really has happened up here. We had a little bit of activity that clipped the far northwestern metro here this morning, about 9 o'clock. There were some storms blew through far western Hennepin County, barely caught eastern Hennepin, or eastern Anoka, western Anoka. I was looking at eastern Sherburne, I said eastern. Western Anoka, eastern Sherburne, up into Isanti County. It rained for about 10 minutes here at Black Sheep, and that was it. No thunder, no lightning, just some little bit of heavy rain, and that was it. So that's not really enough to work over an atmosphere and keep storm development from, or intensification from happening. And that storm here coming up over Minneapolis, that's starting to look like it's getting its collective stuff together. And that's going right over the West Metro of Minneapolis right now. St. Louis Park, Lake of the Isles, Chain of Lakes, up towards near north, Camden, up towards Brooklyn Center, Blaine, Coon Rapids. You guys are going to get in some pretty heavy rain here for a while. Maple Grove, you're just missing it. It's going to come out more towards Dayton and Corcoran and go up towards Rogers. The 16 corridor doesn't look like we're going to see much up here. Little Cell trying to get together north of Plymouth. We'll have to see if that actually can pull anything together. It's got a fairly good open view to the south in terms of being able to pull in more moist air. But the danger being, of course, for that storm, will the storm over Minneapolis and over here farther into eastern Hennepin County, will that produce enough cold air outflow to choke that storm off? And that will be kind of the question. Because it's strengthening right now. So it'll be one of those refs have to watch it and see what it does. Taking a look at the bigger picture, not a lot happening. It is very quiet. And if you look at it from a regional perspective, there's really not a lot going on with this stuff at all. Not at all. So what I'm going to do is I am going to step away for a couple of minutes. I'm going to refill my water bottle because I'm not hydrating real well right now. And then what we will do is we'll pick this up here in about 5 minutes at 2:30. I will leave the radar up and running. I'm going to try to work on my video capture as well. It's being difficult today. As you can tell, you can see my blue screen, but unfortunately, it doesn't really want to blue screen at all. If I turn the blue screen on and try to do that chroma key so I can just kind of float over the map, I disappear. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay. Why are there sirens sounding in Hennepin County? Curious. I don't have a warning here. Given where I am, what the? Sorry, I'm a little perplexed because I hear tornado sirens going off and there's no warning. I think somebody got a little button happy or something. Yeah, I got nothing. I'm going to bring up an audio source here. I apologize. I'm going to pull some audio up here. I'm going to see if I'm missing something entirely. Okay.
Edina, St. Louis Park, Roseville, Brooklyn Center, Fridley, Shoreview, Champlin, New Brighton, Golden Valley, Columbia Heights, Mounds View, Arden Hills, St. Anthony, Spring Lake Park, and Crystal. Move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a well-built building away from windows. If you're outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Highway overpasses are not safe shelters. If you cannot safely drive away from the tornado, as a last resort, abandon your vehicle and walk in a low-lying area and protect yourself from flying debris. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 2:45 p.m. for the following counties in Minnesota: Anoka, Central Hennepin, East Hennepin, Northeast Hennepin, and Ramsey.
Okay. So that cell over Minneapolis, the one that I was talking about, they've issued a tornado warning for it, but it has not come across the Weather Service page yet. It has not come across the weather wires yet. Where is this warning at? So it is this cell right here coming over Minneapolis. That tornado warning includes eastern and northeastern Hennepin County up into central Hennepin County. So this area here, that's going to extend up into northern Ramsey County and into Anoka County. So if you are in Brooklyn Park, Coon Rapids, Blaine, Anoka, Andover, Ham Lake, you're in a tornado warning. Sirens are going off, at least I know here in north central, northeastern Hennepin County, but I have not seen this warning come across at all. So I'm perplexed as to what's going on. Bear with me here. I'm going to actually try something crazy here. I apologize. I just killed the radar app, and I'm doing that for a reason. I want to restart it, see what it does. Let's see if Radar Omega has it now. No. What the? So, weather radio went off. They are saying it's a tornado warning. But I'm not... It's not showing up on the Weather Service page. It is not showing up anywhere that I am finding. This is bizarre. Okay. I am going to do this a different way. Oh. Kamala. Bear with me here. I am pulling this warning up a different way entirely. Okay. All right. There it is. Tornado warning. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over Minneapolis, moving north at 50. Locations impacted: Minneapolis, St. Paul, Brooklyn Park, Coon Rapids, Blaine, Edina, St. Louis Park, Roseville, Brooklyn Center, Fridley, Shoreview, Champlin, New Brighton, Golden Valley, Columbia Heights, Mounds View, Arden Hills, St. Anthony, Spring Lake Park, and Crystal. For counties, that is southeastern or south central Anoka County, northeast, central, and east Hennepin County, and northwestern Ramsey County until 2:45. And that would be this storm right here. And I'm going to do a split screen and see if I can pull up velocity data on it and see what it looks like. Yeah, this is very strange. That little green pocket right here in northeast Minneapolis over St. Anthony, this area, don't believe it. It's a radar artifact from the buildings in downtown Minneapolis. So what we're looking for really is this area up here, North Minneapolis, getting into Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, over the Lynn Bohannon neighborhood, Shingle Creek neighborhood, over towards Columbia Heights. So this little hail core developing here. You get that notch right here over I-94 in North Minneapolis. And it's going to be at Lowry. So if you're at 94 and Dowling up towards 42nd, following up 94 up to 252. If you're in the 252 River Road corridor, you need to be seeking shelter now. Get indoors, away from windows, get as many walls as you can between you and the outside if you don't have a basement or a shelter. So that means a bathroom, ideally with no windows. And I'm still just blown away. There is no anything with this warning. So it got issued. I see it in one source, but all of my other sources don't show it. That's why I'm really perplexed on this one. Okay, now it's showing up in the Weather Service page. Well, it did. What the? Okay. Oh, it's a different tornado. What the? Okay, something's gone wrong with the weather wire. That's what's happened. Because we have tornado warnings all over the place in the state, and they're not showing up. Okay. So, there is a different problem going on here. Let's see what we can do about fixing this. COD, NOAA. NOAA's behind. We know that. There we go. Now things have woken up. Jeez. That took forever. Oh, the warning ticker is not tickerating correctly. Dang it. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, now that we have that warning, you can see it. It's this storm right here. Now the warning polygon's in there. So that's moving straight up. Basically, yeah, like right up 94 in the 252 corridor. Once it crosses over the river, it'll go up 47 and pretty much follow 47 up to about Highway 10. And then from there, it's going to go towards Andover, up towards Oak Grove, up towards Bethel. It's going to be paralleling between 47 and 65. That's going to be your corridor to look at going further out in the future. As it is, this storm is definitely moving right along. Kind of a bounded weak echo here that I'm a little perplexed on. Still radar indicated, just updated it. Over Fridley, 7 miles north of Minneapolis, moving north at 50. So yeah, that's this area right in here. Right here. And you can see a bit of a hint of the rotation right here at 694 and 65. So right there, 47, 65, where they're right there next to each other. That is where we're looking at for that possible tornadic circulation. So if you are in that area, if you are in the area, 47 and 65, going anywhere from 73rd Avenue North, Osborne Road, up towards that is San Bernal, 85th Avenue Northwest, crossing over County Road 10 to Highway 10 to 99th, up into Blaine, Oak Park, you are into that tornado warning. And that does extend all the way out. It does say Champlin, but it barely is just nipping the far eastern side of Champlin. Brooklyn Park, I don't want to wave the all clear yet because there's that little area of suspicion of down here towards Brooklyn Center. But the key that they're looking at right now is the circulation area right here between Spring Lake Park and Fridley. It's going to be right about 65 and 73rd Avenue, which is going to be putting it awful close to remember exactly where it is. But that's, to me, that's... Whew, yeah. I'm trying to remember where Mercy or Unity Hospital is. Mercy Campus, that is, at Unity. But yeah, that's in that same general area. Maple Grove, here's your little cell still trying to come in. And looking back, we have a substantially large severe thunderstorm warning that runs from southeast Minneapolis, Ramsey County, eastern Dakota County. So we're talking Cottage Grove, St. Paul, up to Stillwater, all the way down to Denver Grove Heights, Red Wing, all the way over to New Richmond, all the way over to Baldwin, Durand. So Pierce, Polk, and St. Croix and Pepin counties are in this. Excuse me, I am so sorry. St. Croix, Polk, Pierce, and Pepin. Those western Wisconsin counties always get me. Beyond that, we're still looking at our tornado warning up here. That's not what I expected. Not at all. Still watching that.
Highway overpasses are not safe shelters.
I'm going to bring the Weather Service audio back up into this. Let's see if I can... I want to grab the weather radio, but not me as much. Okay. Yeah. So, looking at this dimple right here, 47, 73rd, right in there between 47 and 65, moving up towards Spring Lake Park, moving up towards Blaine along 65 more. Take shelter immediately. You need to be in your safe space. Going up 65 towards Ham Lake, moving over Bunker Lake Road along 65. That's the path of this storm. The warning doesn't extend much past Blaine. It really doesn't go much past beyond 109th and 113th. But given how quickly these storms can spin up, do things like this, we're going to go ahead and leave this as it is. Okay, I see what's going on. Okay. Seriously? Okay. I need to look at something specific here. How is it worded? Oh, come on. I'm really starting to wonder if the Weather Service is having an issue somewhere. All right. Oof. A tornado warning up here by Nisswa, East Gold Lake and north of Brainerd. And then it's going to be moving northwest at 45. So yeah, you can see that rotation, the broader rotation there. I'm just going to leave. Don't want to forget everybody down here in these severe thunderstorm warnings. This is a substantial line of severe storms. Winds to 60 miles an hour. The line of storms extends from Mendota Heights to 11 miles east of Pine Island, or from St. Paul to 26 miles south of Red Wing, moving northeast at 50. Quarter-sized hail, so 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are the main concern. However, a tornado is possible. So if you're in the path of these storms, if it looks a little dicey, seek shelter immediately. Sorry, I'm just looking out the office window here and noticing we've had an interesting change of wind direction here for a little bit. We were getting a south wind, now we're getting a southwest wind. Interesting, especially considering where we are in relation to this. Yeah, that's definitely starting to look much more suspicious here. I want to switch radars. Getting a little out of range for how the radar for the airport works, but it still works. Okay. Little bit, well, looking at this area over Mounds View, right in here, which would be the area I would kind of expect in this area, but I also see there's some contamination here, side lobe. So, that's not going to be the best radar to use. Something just happened. I can hear it coming across.
The National Weather Service in the Twin Cities has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Sherburne County, Onondaga County, Chisago County, northeast Hennepin County, Isanit County, southwestern Canadian-Beck County, southeastern Mille Lacs County, northern Ramsey County, northern Washington County, until 3:30 p.m. At 2:41 p.m., a line of severe thunder.
Holy cow, that's a big warning. Chanhassen is just broad brushing these out, and I'm okay with it. Normally I'd be like, no, but in this case, I will approve of this. So we now have a severe thunderstorm warning that basically connects up with the warning that goes to the Southeast Metro, and this goes all the way up to Mora, up to Elk River, all the way over to Rush City, Brom, Cambridge, North Branch, St. Croix Falls, Osceola, Chisago. You're all in this. Forest Lake, Columbus, Lino Lakes. Now, the storm that's currently moving up towards Blaine, between Blaine and Circle Pines, that storm means business. Do not let your guard down on this storm. Yeah, there's this severe thunderstorm warning continues forward. These storms are producing severe winds, 60-mile-an-hour winds, hail. They're severe. However, we got this area of rotation that I'm keeping an eyeball on here by Mounds View. And, boy, it's showing every single sign that would make me suspicious. Getting a bit of a winds away from the radar here. They're going this way. But if you look at the airport at Blaine in its observation, the winds are from the southeast. So you've got winds going away from the radar in Chanhassen, moving this way to the northeast. You've got the winds on the surface moving southeast. So you've got a fairly substantial rotation right there. It's very low to the ground, but thankfully we're close enough to the radar site that that's not a problem. But having said that, right now we are in the bulk of the fun right now. So we have one continuous line of severe thunderstorm warnings that is running all the way, just issued for Mora, up there in Kanabec County, southeastern Mille Lacs, far eastern Sherburne, all of Isanti, all of Chisago, well, almost all of Chisago, close enough. Anoka County, you've got the northern half of Washington County, the northern third of Washington County. That warning will expire here in 46 minutes. That will expire at 3:30. That doesn't have a tornado possible tag. The other warning farther south will expire in 30 minutes. That will expire at 3:15. Again, that is for 60-mile-an-hour winds, hail, and tornado possible tag. And that one runs from St. Croix County back into southern Washington County, Ramsey County, Dakota County. So we're talking New Richmond, Stillwater, Woodbury, Cottage Grove, and Eagan, Burnsville area. And for Chanhassen, that warning runs... What the... Whoa. Somebody just broke a warning there. Yeah, they broke it good. I'm not sure what just happened there. I've not seen that happen. So that the flashing area you see there, that is La Crosse updating their warning. That's what that is. And then, as I was saying, Pepin County, back into Goodhue County, all the way back up into the metro in New Richmond. One big severe thunderstorm warning. The area down in Wabasha, going down towards Plainview and Elgin, that is actually the warning issued by La Crosse. So that's why that line is there, kind of running around. You see, get just that little bitty bit here of Goodhue County, and then there's a gap, and then more warning. That is Chanhassen's warning to the west, the gap, and then the warning for La Crosse. That's the county line thing. You'll see it every once in a while. It gets interesting when you have multiple, like 3 or 4 different offices come together, and you'll see different patchworks of warnings, and it gets very confusing when you see it. But then once you've seen it, you're like, oh, that's what that was. Okay. Even my phone didn't get the tornado warning. Wow, that's insane. Huh. So, yeah, somebody broke something. Oh, I see what happened. Somebody, when they were putting in their polygons, did not cap it off, and they left a 00 in there, and so it was pointing to the infamous 0000, 0 degrees north, 0 degrees east. And so it's plotting to a point somewhere off the coast of Africa, which is always entertaining. We did just get an update on the warning that's to the south, and that is for northeastern Dakota, southeastern Ramsey, Washington, central Goodhue, Pierce, Pepin, and St. Croix counties. 244, line of storms from Oakdale to 12 miles south of Pepin, or from 8 miles northeast of St. Paul to 24 miles southeast of Red Wing, moving northeast at 50. Again, still a tornado possible tag on that. 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. Absolutely correct to issue that warning like that. We don't have an update here for a little bit on the warning for the North Metro, extending up well into east central Minnesota, up into Kanabec, Isanti, and Chisago counties. I'm going to put this in motion because one of the things I'm noticing, notice how the line is moving? Out here, towards Red Wing, these storms are moving pretty distinctly to the northeast. If you look up towards Maple Grove and the North Metro, they're moving due north. And I'm still watching this little line right in here. There's another line right there. There's a whole bunch of boundaries and fine lines out here in the West Metro. Out in Carver, Meeker, yeah, Wright counties. This area is wanting to do something. We'll have to see if it does. If it doesn't, I think the show's quickly starting to wrap up for the Metro. I don't think we're going to, unless that area out there between Buffalo and St. Peter, if that whole area of boundaries can throw something together, we might see more in the Metro. Otherwise, I think it's going to be pretty quick and done. We'll have to be watching these severe thunderstorms. We could get a tornado warning at the drop of a hat. So there is that. Otherwise, there's not a lot going on. I shouldn't say not a lot going on. For what was expected, it's not nearly as much as I think they were expecting. New tornado warning from Grand Forks. That is for central Wadena County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Oiland, moving north at 40. Nimrod and Oiland are the towns in the path, so two smaller towns, but you know, all it takes is one tornado in your house and it's a bad day, no matter what strength the tornado is. And then you've got a larger tornado warning, again by Fargo Grand Forks. That is for southwestern Otter Tail, northern Grant, and southeastern Wilkin County, and that goes until 3 o'clock. Those storms capable of producing a tornado along a line from 4 miles west of Ashby to 5 miles east of Durand, moving north at 40, including Fergus Falls, Elbow Lake, Ashby, Underwood, Dalton, Wendell, and Campbell. So that's one of those large warnings. Normally, I don't see those with tornado warnings as much as you see them with like severe thunderstorm warnings like this, where it's just a solid line where you can just broad brush a big warning into it. Looking at these, though, they don't really... There's not much going on. They're severe. They're producing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. They're producing hail. But with that cluster configuration where they're all in a line like this, remember we had that tornado warning up here with this cell that's moving up Highway 65, that corridor. This cell was kind of by itself back over here. See it back here? It kind of drifts in from Bloomington. That's the same storm that produced over Elko. So it's here. It kind of blew up. Poof. But notice now it's in this line. It's not as far by itself. This area blew up and they grew together. So that's what choked that out, that rotation out. So yeah, it's just a matter of watching these storms and seeing how long it's going to take for them to clear out of the metro, which shouldn't take long. If you're thinking, do I need to leave work early to avoid a really messy, wet rush hour? No, you don't. This is as dull and as boring as it gets in terms of that. Now, it's not to say that there's not lots of other things that won't happen, but realistically, I don't see severe weather again, unfortunately. Okay. Still fighting with the warning overlay. It's not working. It's making me a little crazy. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not working. Things that were working perfectly just aren't anymore. Okay, I'm just going to look up and down this line in velocity data. All right, 1-inch hail report just northeast of Rochester. It's a public report. Otherwise, might be a little organization trying to happen here, coming into Lake City, just southeast of Highway 63, north of West Albany, along 60, coming up towards Wabasha Lake City, more towards Lake City. The cell up here by Oak Grove might be trying to get its act together. Just watching it. Yeah, that could do something. That'll move up towards River Falls and Kinnickinnick. Go well east of New Richmond. And that will cover Baldwin and Roberts, that area. Looking up here in the North Metro at what came through. Here's that rotation. Went up It's still there. I mean, it's definitely not just gone away. But one thing I will notice, there's not a lot of lightning in that storm. Yeah. Somebody's having a bad day with the warnings. Or something. I'm not sure what's happening there. Okay, now we're getting there. Okay. Yeah, the Weather Service is having a data issue, it looks like, which is very frustrating. And as of 2:30, so as of about 20 minutes ago, we were still in a moderate or an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms. I want to see where exactly they're we're talking about for that area. New tornado warning just issued, which has not come through here yet, but it's for northwestern Pierce County. It was just issued. That'll go until 3:15. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located 6 miles southeast of Prescott or 11 miles south of River Falls, moving northeast at 25. River Falls and Diamond Bluff. Right there. That's the storm right there. No, that's Wabasha County by La Crosse. Okay, it's a different storm. Wow. That's the one I was looking at back before, though. There's the one I was thinking of. Up towards River Falls, Oak Grove. And that's that rotation I said I was kind of looking at coming in, moving up towards River Falls. And there it is. And that's kind of been the pattern of the day. These warnings come out with little to no warning. Well, obviously, they're warnings. But, I mean, they're very short. There's not a real big time window between when the storm looks nasty and the time that it wasn't. That they go from looking fairly mundane to suddenly showing signs of rotation, and it does not take long. So I am going to keep looking at this. Wabasha, it's not that we don't care about you. It's just in Lake City, you're just out of our coverage area. That's all. I am so sorry about that. Still have our radar indicated tornado warning up towards Fergus Falls and Elbow Lake. That's another 5 minutes. Got 35 minutes on a tornado warning up here. That's the area. Come on. Okay, it's Stables, but I want to see the warning details. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to jump out of that. I just saw the update come across for the northern half of the severe thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorms from Zimmerman to Hugo. So 16 miles west of Cambridge to 17 north of St. Paul. Moving northeast at 50, 60 mile an hour winds, quarter-sized hail, and our friend the tornado possible tag is on that as well. And part of that system is still this cell right here. It's actually starting to merge. Watch these two cells come together here. Boom. And that is that rotation that caused the tornado warning over Hennepin County, Anoka County, Ramsey County. That's that cell. So depending on how the cell merger goes, that can sometimes either A, spin something up and make it stronger, or B, it will destructively interfere and it just does nothing. So looking at the core metro itself, if you are in the western metro, the west metro, and you are south of Highway 10, west of I-35W, you are not in any warnings. Right now, there is nothing happening. If you are in the north metro and you are north or east of Highway 10, you are in a severe thunderstorm warning. That includes everybody going from Oak Grove, Lina Lakes, Osceola, almost up to Mora, Rush City, Brom, Ogilvie, Cambridge, North Branch, Chisago. You're all in the warning. That's for 60 mile an hour winds, 1 inch hail, and tornado possible. There's the same thing going on in the south. However, this does have 2 tornado warnings in it. One is for the area near Oak Grove, Wisconsin, and Trimble, moving up towards River Falls and Kinnickinnick, up on the Kinnickinnick River. That storm is a radar indicated tornado warning for the next 18 minutes. It was 6 miles southeast of Prescott, 11 miles south of River Falls, moving northeast at 25. So this storm is not in as much of a hurry as a lot of these other storms were. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little speedometer here. So I'm moving at 25. Whoops. Had it. There we go. Do that. Moving northeast. 25. And we see Roberts in about 40 minutes, Hammond in 46, and Baldwin in 49. So if you're in River Falls, this is likely going to miss you just to the east. Would I be terribly excited about what's happening? I would. I would be taking shelter, seeking a safe space. So I look at this. You'll notice, oops. See this rotation area right here, just north of Oak Grove. This area starting to tighten up some. I want to look at this from our friend the Cottage Grove radar, because it's actually closer. Quite a ways closer at that. So let's see what it shows. There it is, right there. So where I was seeing it was more down here. I would be much more suspect of this area here. Either way, respect the polygon. If you were in that polygon, you are under a tornado warning. You need to be seeking shelter. Get indoors, away from windows, as many walls as you can between you and the outside world. Ideally a bathroom, because it's got pipes that are reinforced in there. You've got more walls usually with linen closets and other things between you and the outside wall. If you can, underground, basement, shelter if you have one. Otherwise, anywhere on this line, you could see a tornado at any time. Waiting for an update on this warning. Here, I'm expecting them to trim that back and probably clear. Yeah, they'll probably clear all of the Minnesota counties out of this warning, except for Washington. Washington County will stay in it because the storm hasn't even gotten to Stillwater yet, but it's very quickly pushing over Bayport. It's going to push over and off of Afton here pretty quick. Still that radar indicated tornado warning for Wabasha County. Capable of producing a tornado 14 miles west of Wabasha or 11 miles south of Stockholm, Wisconsin, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. It'll be mostly rural areas of western Wabasha County, including Jarrett, Bremen, Oak Center, Thielman, Maple Springs, Millville, and Gilbert Valley. Otherwise, it is calming down some. I didn't expect it to spin up like this. I also didn't expect it to fall apart like this. So it's kind of a, you win some, you lose some. Okay. Why am I not able to find my own stream? New mesoscale discussion. 4 parts of northwest Wisconsin. Tornado potential is shifting into northwestern Wisconsin over the next hour or two. Broken line of supercells continues north and east. These storms will move across the Mississippi River and St. Croix River into northwest Wisconsin shortly. Temperatures are rising into the low to mid 80s. Dew points are about 65. So that is definitely going to be an area to be watching. And just putting a finger on it specifically. Just waiting for it here because they haven't quite shown. I get them faster than the Storm Prediction Center gets their graphics put up. So sometimes I'm like, well, that's it. Oh, here we go. New tornado warning. This is an extension of the Wabasha County storm back into the Chanhassen warning area. So it'll be southwestern Dunn County in western Wisconsin, Pepin County in west central Wisconsin, and southeastern Pierce in west central Wisconsin. Severe storm capable of producing a tornado was located 6 miles north of Pepin or 20 miles east of Red Wing, moving northeast at 50. Locations in the path of the storm will be Durand, Pepin, Elmwood, Ogali, Plum City, Stockholm, Arkansas, Porcupine, and Ella. So that's a fairly sizable area there. Wait and see if they decide if La Crosse will issue a warning down here. See if they do. I don't know that they will. Yeah, it's northwestern Buffalo County, so it'd be more central northern Buffalo County. I could Nelson, Maxville, this area, I could see that getting extended a little farther east, but the main core of the circulation looks to be down here. That'll be just kind of near Lake City Pepin, now that I look at this. Huh. Which radar am I using at the moment? Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong one. There we go. Oh, that makes much clearer sense. Okay. So we're going to look at this again. Be this area right here, just over Lake City, really. Another area down here, south of Pepin, I'd be west of Dumfries. So if you are in Pepin, if you are in Lund, Maxville, Plum City, Durand, you are in a tornado warning. You need to be taking this seriously, seeking shelter. An update on the severe thunderstorm warning in the south half of the metro. And as I expected, northern Washington is still in the warning. Pierce, Pepin, and St. Croix counties in Wisconsin. Severe storms are located along a line from Somerset to 8 miles east of Pepin, or about 20 miles north of River Falls to 30 miles east of Red Wing, moving northeast at 50. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail, and our ever-present tornado possible tag. I don't think... Oh, well, hello. We had a surprise up there. Snuck in. I didn't see it. Severe thunderstorm warning near Melrose in Stearns County. Southeastern Todd County, 27 miles southwest of Little Falls, moving north at 50. And looking, it looks like out here towards Spring Hill, north of Lake Henry. Tree damage and tree debris reported 2 miles east-northeast of Spring Hill by a trained spotter. That's one thing Stearns County does have, is a very solid spotter network. I will apologize for all the sniffling. I just realized I'm still sniffing like a fiend. It's allergy season. I am actually, sadly, allergic to trees when they start pollinating. Okay. Looking at this, right here's a little finger. Right here's the finger of Nelson. Here's that. Ooh. I don't like that. No, I don't. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to sweat that nearly as much as I was. I'm going to sweat it because that does not look particularly inviting, but I'm wondering if that is... No, that is not an artifact. Something's going on here. Okay, yeah, that's something else. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to throw this out there. I believe it was 50. We're going to treat it as 50 because that just gives us a farther out warning. All right, so in western Wisconsin, this is going to kind of straddle between Eau Claire and the Chanhassen Weather Office. We're going to cover both. If you are in Tarrant, about 12 minutes, you're going to have a circulation coming over you that looks rather intense. Same with Red Cedar in 19 minutes, Dunville in 21, Rock Falls in 26, Rusk in 37, Elk Mound 37, Truax in 40, Colfax in 46. So it's going to be a lot of rural area out there, but the storm is definitely starting to look more intense. You see that couplet right there? That just strengthens right up, right here. So if you were near Ern, just east of Mishawaka, heading up towards Lima, Durand, Red Cedar, Red Cedar, O'Galley, Durand, you're in a tornado warning. It is a severe thunderstorm warning for the Buffalo County side, Maxville, Nelson. That rotation is just outside of that warning. Really would like to see La Crosse issue a tornado warning on that, but we'll have to see if they do. Okay. What the? Oh, whoops. Scroll too far. Okay. And that tornado, or that severe thunderstorm warning, rather, for Wabasha and Buffalo counties, that does not have a tornado possible tag on it. But looking at that, yeah, that's suspicious as I'll get out. It's in the right spot, too. Okay. Play. Weird. There we go. Well, it thought about it. There we go. You know, I think we may have had a brief touchdown right in here, just east of Nelson. There's a distinct dip. The correlation coefficient there for just a scan or two. I wouldn't put my finger on it and say, yep, that was it, but... And they've snuck in another tornado warning. Radar indicated, not for hail. For St. Croix County, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over River Falls, moving northeast at 45. River Falls, New Richmond, Hammond, Baldwin, Roberts, and Holton are in the path of this storm. This is really frustrating because I'm not getting any notification of warnings whatsoever. All my usual sources are not there. Huh, weird. All right. Just checking some other sources here. There's that fill-in tornado warning for Buffalo County. Radar indicated tornado 7 miles northeast of Wabasha, moving north at 25. Mishawaka, Maxville, Ern, and Ella. Where does that sound familiar from? Excuse me. Still that tornado warning up here in Stearns County. That is moving north and away from the metro. Yeah, near Melrose, moving north at 50. Okay. We have our arc of severe thunderstorms here. The dry line is quickly approaching the metro. I'm going to recap these tornado warnings quick. So we have the one cell. It's just over River Falls. That's going to move up here into St. Croix County. Moving up towards Roberts, Baldwin, and New Richmond. Town of Richmond. Hammond. Downstream, if you're in Ceylon, you want to be keeping an eye on this. Same with Deer Park, Stanton, Forest. Stanton, you're probably going to be okay with this, but Deer Park, Ceylon, that would be an area I would watch. These storms are drifting a bit to one side or the other. It's not a perfect... Oh, yeah, it's moving northeast at 35. They do tend to breathe and move a little. So that is where we stand with that. The warning back, farther back here, which will expire in 3 minutes, that is for Northwestern Pierce. Northwestern Pierce County, that storm is out. So you're good there. Still, that bigger tornado warning to the south. That is for southwestern Dunn, Pepin, and southeastern Pierce counties in Wisconsin. Tornado possible 6 miles north of Pepin, moving northeast at 50. And then we have a different area of rotation. That is the warning issued by La Crosse for northwestern Buffalo County. That is 7 miles northeast of Wabasha, moving north at 25. That's the one that we previously pointed out near Mishawaka, Maxville, Ern, and Ella. So for the Minneapolis side of the river, northern Washington County, that's just drifting out and does not want to clear really. Chisago, Isanti counties, you guys are still in it for a while. Same with you up in Kanabec County. Probably we'll start to see warnings get issued by Duluth. That'll cover Pine County. Maybe start getting in some Wisconsin counties too. Otherwise, the Minneapolis side of the metro, except for north of Stillwater to Forest Lake, north and east in Washington County, you're still in the severe thunderstorm warning. The rest of the metro is clear. The warnings are gone. Looking back upstream, if we look at this, so Lakeville, 79 degrees, dew point 64, 73, dew point 66 at the airport, Crystal, 65, South St. Paul, 67, 67, still 75 degrees, 67 degree dew point at Flying Cloud. Oh, Glencoe, dew point 58, Hutchinson, dew point 53. Remember we've been talking about that dry line earlier today. Yeah, it's coming. And that's where that wind shifts strongly to the southwest. And those storms, once these storms go through and once that southwest wind starts to kick up, you will feel it. Those are going to be very strong winds. They are not going to give anyone anything. They're going to blow. If you're in a high profile vehicle, it's going to be a very tough slog to drive. Now, looking farther back, I'm looking to see if I can see the cold front. Boy. So when the winds go westerly more. Yeah, the winds go more southwesterly than... Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, here you see the west wind at 56, west wind. Laverne. Okay, so there it is, the west wind. So we go from our mostly south to southwest to west as the dry line goes through. That is a big new tornado warning just issued. That is covering a lot of real estate. That is going to cover Dunn County. Come on, let me have the bloody warning. Thank you. That is going to be southern Dunn, north central Pepin, and east central Pierce counties in Wisconsin until 3:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Durand, or 21 miles south of Menominee, moving northeast at 50. Towns in the path of this storm include Menominee, Durand, Boyceville, Elk Mound, Elmwood, Ogali, Plum City, Knapp, Weston, Downsville, Menominee Airport, Cedar Falls, Arkansas, Hoffman Hills, Rec Area, and Porcupine. If you're in any of those towns or you recognize those towns are close to you, you are in a tornado warning, respect the polygon. Seek shelter immediately. You want to make sure you have as many walls as you can between you and the outside. Wear your tennis shoes. If you have a bike helmet or a motorcycle helmet, put that on your head. Broken arm can be fixed. It's really hard to repair a broken head. It really is. Otherwise, the severe thunderstorm warning that was out for western Wisconsin has been allowed to expire. And right now we're covering it more. They're covering it more with the tornado warnings as they're needed. Otherwise, we have a new tornado warning in Mille Lacs County. I just caught that one. Wow, that snuck in. That is 6 miles northeast of Vinland to 38 northeast of Little Falls, moving north at 45. Vinland, Lake Mille Lacs, and Mille Lacs-Cathio State Park. You are in the path of this storm. That is some beautiful area. Looks like a lot of it looks like the worst of it's going out over the lake, actually. So if you're somehow watching me and you're on Lake Mille Lacs, you want to get to shelter, I would head east as fast as you could. Head over towards the eastern shore, towards Waukon, and out that way. If you can get west, and you can make it over to Garrison, or you can get over even to Nichols, that area, that would be safe harbor. Do not go to the North Shore. Do not try to go south. Do not try to get back towards Isle or Waukon or Bayview. You'll be running right into that storm. Stearns County warning has been allowed to expire. So for tornado warnings in our area, we have only two. We have the one for St. Croix County. Excuse me. That is in effect for another 12 minutes. Now it's for that storm over River Falls moving northeast at 45. River Falls, you are done with this storm. It is now quickly approaching Roberts, and that is going to continue moving northeast. That's going to move up pretty close to, it's going to go right between New Richmond and Ceylon, more towards Stanton, Deer Park, Amory. You're in the path of this storm farther down the line. Looking at that storm on reflectivity, there, I'm going to watch this real close for a second. Okay. That's hail contamination. Okay. I was looking at this area of correlation coefficient drop just northwest of Roberts and looking at it, see where it was placed in relation to where the rotation would likely be. The rotation itself is likely over the town of Roberts right now. If not, it's still a little bit south. But that area of correlation coefficient drop is well to the northeast, a few miles, and that is where the hail core is. So the radar is sampling the hail shapes, which are not perfect little raindrops. They are big, chunky blocks of ice. So that is why you're seeing that correlation coefficient drop. It is not tornado damage, it is hail. Taking a look at our tornado warning up to Dunn County, Pepin County, Pierce County. That is in effect until 3:45, so we have about another 25 minutes left on it. Again, looking at that one on radar. I think we have a tornado on the ground. Right here, southeast of, yeah, if that's not on the ground, it's close. Because what I'm looking at is I'm looking at this area here, which starts here, boop, 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 and it's consistent. Is it with the hail core, though? That would be the next one. That is the hail core. So see, this is where it gets tricky, because everybody's like, oh, use your correlation coefficient, you can see the debris. True. However, look at this hail core just to the east of Durand. That's some serious hail falling out of that storm. Now look at where it is. I'm going to pause it. So here's Durand. Here's Lima. Here's the U.S. 10 shield. Here's Wisconsin 85. Here's the 10 shield. Here's the 85 shield. Where's that heaviest hail core? Just outside of the Highway 10 shield east of Durand. Same thing here. That could be rotation, but I really don't think so. I'd be surprised. Not saying that you don't want to treat the tornado warning with respect, but at this point, I mean, there is some weak rotation around Durand. I'm not going to say there isn't. There is. So again, we're treating this polygon with respect. If you are in Red Cedar, you're kind of up the 25 corridor, heading towards Menominee, and then it's going to peel off a bit to the east towards Rusk. So it's going to kind of thread right between Elk Mound and Menominee up towards Tincher and Colfax. That's where that storm is going to go. I'm curious if this is a radar artifact out here, west of Mondovi, south of Lima. It looks interesting, but at the same time it doesn't. So I'm just kind of, what am I looking at here? CC is nothing. There's a bit of a dip back here by Maxville. This is where interrogating the radar products gets interesting, and also kind of, you start seeing things you want to see, but not necessarily what is there. We've got a weak echo here, and something going on here, and that they're co-located. which is why I'm kind of eyeballing that area too. So if that is a developing circulation, I'll take that tornado warning and pull its vector out. Northeast at 50. Okay, so we're going to grab that. Go running northeast at 50. So Terrence in about now. Meridian in about 13 minutes. Rock Falls 18 minutes to Falls City. 25 minutes to Elk Mound. Truax in 26. Colfax in 34. Tilden 42. Bloomer in 47. Jim Falls in 50. New Auburn 53. So that is this pocket just on the edge of that tornado warning. Far extreme northern Buffalo County, far southern Dunn County. Our tornado warning down towards Wabasha has been allowed to expire. We still have our tornado warning up here in St. Croix County. As of 3:07 over River Falls, they have not updated that one, so I'm surprised. That rotation is now northeast of Roberts. That is really starting to come together now. If you look at this right here, just west of Wisconsin 65, north of US 12, that's starting to pull together. That's going to move up towards Aaron Corner, Jewett, towards Cylon, Deer Park. If it continues onwards, it's going to get close to Clear Lake. It'll probably go southeast of Amory, but depending on how these storms rotate and move, that could actually wind up being a headache for you guys. Still have the remnants of the tornado warning over Mille Lacs Lake. And as of 3 minutes ago, that storm was northeast, 7 miles northeast of Vinland, moving north at 35. So it's Vinland and Lake Mille Lacs. If you are in the north side of Lake Mille Lacs, you need to get either to the east or to the west quickly. As safely as you can full throttle out across to the other side of the lake, do it. This storm is serious and it means business. We now have a tornado possible tag, severe thunderstorm warning from Duluth for southwestern Aitkin County. That is a severe thunderstorm near Isle, or 20 miles southeast of Lake Mille Lacs, moving north at 40, which would be this cell right here, which is unwarned by Chanhassen, but it is warned by Duluth. So that's this guy right here. This is our tornado warned storm here for Mille Lacs. That is all the farther that warning is going to go, because you can kind of see the gray line right here. That is the transition to Aitkin County, and that would be the Duluth County warning area. So Duluth would issue a follow-up warning on that. Back into our area, we now have a bigger updated severe, tornado warning, just issued. That is for southeastern Polk and northeastern St. Croix counties. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 5 miles north of Hammond, or 15 miles northeast of River Falls, moving northeast at 35. Locations impacted: New Richmond, Roberts, Clear Lake, Star Prairie, Forest, Cylon, Deer Park, New Richmond Airport, Huntington, Holton, and Boardman. So that is that same area right here that I've been kind of watching. It's north of Roberts. So that's going to continue moving up. That is definitely going to start moving towards Amory. It is starting to move a little bit further off. So let's do that. I'm going to go 50 just for the sake of getting a bigger polygon there. New Richmond, about 8 minutes. Stanton 13, Deer Park 16, Wanderous 24, Amory 25. That is your current trajectory on that storm. I'm just going to verify the speed there. I don't think it was 50. 35. So that's getting you in your shelter a little soon, but I'm okay with that. So let's do 35. It's not going to change times too much. Stanton 15 minutes, Deer Park 20, Little Falls 28, Amory 33. So Amory, you got about half an hour. You're not in the warning at this moment. You are right on the edge of it, but it's easier to get prepared now and take your shelter precautions now than it is to do it when the tornado is bearing down on you and you're not clearly thinking. And we were talking about the dry line coming through. The dry line has now come through northeastern Hennepin County, and I'm looking at the wind direction has shifted more southwesterly here in Noka Blaine County, the county airport. Crystal has also, but still Crystal at the southeast. Chanhassen southeast, so it's interesting. We have gone rather clear. It looks like we've got some clouds at about 25,000 feet, some height in Cirrus. That's it. It is full sun here. And looking out, Gaylord 58. Yeah, they're at a north wind, but I don't know if that's odd. Is it north or was it calm? 0, they're calm. Okay. I had to look. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Southwest, 77 degrees in Hutchinson, but 53 dew point. So that's a big difference compared to where we are over here in the metro at 66, 65, 64, 67. Going to keep up with this warning over here in St. Croix, and I think it's Polk County up there. Yes, it is. Southeastern Polk and northeastern St. Croix. That is our last warning in our county warning area that we cover here at Black Sheep. If you're in the Eau Claire area, you want to make sure you are turning in to your local media or some version of NOAA Weather Radio or your favorite internet podcaster if there's one. I know that a lot of people like to watch Ryan Hall Y'all. He is extremely good at what he does. Personally, I find his Y'all bot a bit annoying, but it's not my channel. And then there's also Max Velocity. A lot of storm chasers are probably out on this stuff today too. Just looking, big new severe thunderstorm warning issued by La Crosse. That is going to be for Buffalo and Trempealeau counties in Wisconsin. From 8 miles south of Durand to Medina, it's near Galesville, moving north at 40, 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-sized hail. No tornado possible tag on this one. That's going to be covering all the way out towards, getting closer towards Black River Falls, so Arcadia, Osseo, Blair, almost down to Holman, but not quite. You're in that severe thunderstorm warning. Looking at this storm that is now pulling away from Roberts, it's going to go east of New Richmond. At New Richmond, you're going to get hail. There's no doubt in my mind on that one. You're going to get some hail out of this. But what I'm more concerned with is this rotation pocket right here that is southeast of New Richmond. Right in here. If you are in the area around Aaron Corner or Jewett, you are under a tornado warning. I would be taking my tornado precautions. There are some rotations starting to tighten up. In the area southwest of Aaron Corner, it's going to move up towards you, towards Stanton, Deer Park, all the way up here in Aaron Corner and Jewett. So if you're on County Road K, east of New Richmond, if you're on County Road T or County Road G, if you know those areas in St. Croix County, you want to be seeking your safe space right now. There is rotation. There is a tornado warning for a tornado possible. Otherwise, you do have the chance of seeing 60-mile-an-hour winds, and you do have the possibility of hail up to 1 inch. The rotation is where I would be more concerned because these storms have shown they can spin up a tornado and do it very, very quickly. And that other cell we were looking at that was out towards Durand, or 18 miles south of Menominee, moving northeast to 50, that is now tornado warned. That is for southwestern Chippewa, southeastern Dunn, northwestern Eau Claire, and northeastern Pepin counties. And that will go until 4 o'clock. Eau Claire, Menominee, Lake Hallie, Colfax, Elk Mound, Rock Falls, Tainter Lake, Menominee Airport, Huffman Hills Recreation Area, and Caryville are all in the path of this storm. No hail size on it. Tornado rated, tornado indicated. Winds to 60 mile an hour also entirely possible. Still keeping an eye on this storm up here by New Richmond. That is pretty much the remnants of all we have left in our county warning area here at Black Sheep. The Minnesota side, there's a tiny little bit of storm left in Chisago, or some in Chisago County, the very far northeastern tip of Washington County up there by Osceola. You get a little storm action left. Otherwise, the metro is clear. Metro, it's over. We are done. So right now, we are going to stay with our friends over here in western Wisconsin. Again, that area towards Jewett, north of it, it's going to go, oof. There it is. Now, okay, now it's starting to make more sense. Boy, that's awful close. That's getting awful close in here to New Richmond. So the Peninsula Heights neighborhood up towards Stanton, that's going to follow up. Not really any solid county roads. It's all squares like normal path would be. So if you're in Peninsula Heights, you're in southeastern New Richmond, going up towards Stanton, up towards Little Falls, and yeah, right in line with Amory. You're in that tornado warning. There is rotation just southeast of New Richmond. Nice hail core developing over New Richmond. They're going to see some probably 1-inch hail out of this, maybe 1.5 inch hail. Won't last too long, but it'll be enough to startle the pets once it starts hitting the roof, and might give you a little upset stomach thinking about your car sitting out there too. I'm going to take a big picture look out here. We have one severe thunderstorm warning north of the metro. That is way up in Aitkin County, southwestern Aitkin near Isle, moving north at 40. So that will clip the eastern shore of Mille Lacs. I know I told everybody to go east or west, and now the storm's coming to the east. Yeah. New Richmond, I still... Yeah, that rotation's starting to tighten up. I'm kind of waiting to see if they update that one. I don't think it's going to be contaminated CC drop. Red Cedar North. Oof. Yeah, this is messy. These are the kind of storms that give us meteorologists a bit of an upset stomach trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, that velocity couplet's in the right place. You've got a weakness in the reflectivity data here. You've got the hail core off to the west. It looks right. Another possible little rotation bit up here, but that's in the wrong part of the storm. It does have a little bit of a weak echo region, but nothing stands out. Just waiting for the next update scheme. I wonder. We'll look at this from the Cottage Grove radar since we're over here. Smeary, that's what that is. That is very smeary. Excuse me. Somewhere in here I also have something to drink and I'm not seeing it, so I may have to jump aside for just a split second and do that. All right. I'm going to jump back over to Minneapolis. Now we have an observed tornado. There we go. I was wondering if that was going to happen. Confirmed tornado 6 miles southeast of New Richmond, moving northeast at 35. Law enforcement confirmed tornado north of Roberts. So that is right about where I thought it was going to be. 6 miles north of Roberts. That's back here. Oof. That's going to be this area right in here. I'm going to pull velocity data here. Yeah. Right in there. So it's confirmed. Do we have any correlation coefficient data pointing to it? No. Not yet. Shorten this up and go 7. Excuse me. I mean, yeah, that's going to be just a little northeast of Richmond, of New Richmond. Oh, I see it now. Yeah. Yeah. It's that same area. Right here. As we watch it, yeah, it's going to move. Looks like it might actually go just a hair east of Amory. Yeah, it looks like the core will go just east of Amory in about 20 minutes. Balsam Lake in about 36. Fox Creek in 40, but that's getting quite a ways outside of our area here. Frederick is in our area barely. And then once you get up here to Siren, that is out of our area. That is Duluth County warning area and well outside the metro. And technically Pepin County, Wisconsin is too, but for some reason I tend to cover it. Looking over here, look at these 2 warnings. Radar indicated, radar indicated. That's good. Six miles northeast of New Richmond. 6 miles southeast of New Richmond, rather. So again, Stanton, it's there. That storm is moving a bit off to the left. Interesting. In this pattern, it makes sense that a left moving storm would be the more severe one, but normally it's the right movers that are the ones you have to watch out for. The hail core has now cleared New Richmond. I would love to see what the next observation from New Richmond is going to show. Yeah, 10 after the hour, they had 10 mile visibility light rain. Southeast wind to 13, gusting to 17, so nothing to write home about. But that storm is starting to definitely take on more of a classic supercell look. It's also not the cell I would have expected to go tornadic either. And there's that rotation couplet right there, just went over Stanton. The velocity data is always about a minute and a half behind because it takes time for the Doppler system to coordinate it, correlate the data, push it all together, do what it does, and then it'll kick out the velocity image. So sometimes they're a little delayed. But looking at that, yeah, Stanton up towards Little Falls, Deronda, Amory, Wanderoos. No guarantees on exactly where this storm is going to go. So what I would do is just treat it as if you're in the polygon. Little Falls, you're in it. Stanton, you're in it. Deronda, Wanderoos, Amory, you are not yet in the warning. You will be soon. Unless something drastic happens and this storm just suddenly falls apart. For those of you in Chisago County, you are no longer... Oh, we have more tornado warnings. These warnings are popping up so thick and so heavy. All right. Let's see if there's anything urgent I need to peek at. Radar indicated tornado warning north and west of St. Cloud, rather. Western Benton, south central Morrison, northeastern Stearns. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Sartell, or 11 miles northwest of St. Cloud, moving north at 35. Sartell, Sauk Rapids, Royalton, Bolus, Rice, St. Stephen, Opole, and St. Wendell are in the path of that storm. Excuse me. We do have another severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for Mille Lacs County. And that's for a cell that's kind of popped up out of nowhere. Also includes southwestern Kanabec County, as near Bach, or 20 miles northwest of Cambridge, moving north at 45. And I'm going to let this one run back a little bit further here. Go back 21. Go back about half an hour, 40 minutes here. There's that little cell, it just kind of, and all of a sudden it picks up again. And that's what we've got to watch out for with these cells, is they just, the environment is primed for them, but the question is can they produce? And these are definitely starting to get their collective stuff together. Looking backwards to see if there's anything. Oh, new tornado warning extended now. That's for Dunn County. That is for a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 6 miles southwest of Menominee, moving northeast at 50. So Menominee, Boyceville, Knapp, Wheeler, Ridgeland, Tater Lake, Cedar Falls, Menominee Airport. You are in the path of this severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. These storms have been producing tornadoes hit or miss randomly. You don't know when or where. Looking at the velocity data coming in, yeah, there's definitely rotation there. So if you are in Menominee, you are in Tainter, any of those areas, seek shelter immediately. Eau Claire, I don't think you're going to see much out of this. You're still in a tornado warning for another 20 minutes. And that was for a storm that was 10 miles south of Menominee, moving northeast at 50. But that rotation currently has pretty much fizzled out. It's reforming farther to the west, to the northwest. And that's going to be out towards Falls City is where that rotation is currently trying to come back together. So unless something new develops farther south towards Mondovi, Eau Claire, I think you're out of it. I think you're going to be okay. Still going to go back and keep an eyeball on this storm moving up towards Amory. See if we got an update on that one yet. No. As of 3:30, so 15 minutes ago. Otherwise, if you are in Minnesota and you are south and west of I-94, it's nice having you here today, but we are done. There is nothing more. There's a few little showers and such coming with the cold front itself. Actually, they're behind the cold front, but nothing to get too excited about. All of the severe weather is currently in western Wisconsin, except for our tornado warning up here by St. Cloud, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings up towards Mille Lacs. But yeah, if you north and east of 94 in Minnesota, north and west of the Mississippi River and the St. Croix in Wisconsin, you are definitely still in this. You are definitely going to be watching these severe thunderstorms for quite a while. Numerous tornado warnings across western Wisconsin. We have one that is an observed tornado that is in northeastern St. Croix County. That was just north of Roberts. That storm has now pulled northeast of New Richmond, moving quickly towards Amory. Storm is moving northeast at 35. That rotation is right now about Little Falls. So Little Falls area towards Deronda, west of Amory, moving up along, it'll move up towards Highway 8, go just east of Balsam Lake, go over Balsam Lake, right between Balsam Lake and Bunyan, it looks like. And if it holds together, it'll move up towards Frederick and Clam Falls. Siren, you are a ways down the road on that one, but it is there. And St. Croix County has now been cleared from that tornado warning. It has now been downgraded back to a tornado possible radar indicated tornado warning. 7 miles southwest of Clear Lake or 25 miles northeast of River Falls, moving northeast at 35. That's an interesting way of wording that. 7 southwest Clam Lake, or Clear Lake. Yep, that would make sense now. Okay. So that's this area right in here. So that's going to go right up by Amory. And we've got the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in Dunn. Got one in central and northern Dunn County. That was for a storm that was just over Menominee, moving northeast at 50. And then there's another cell that's radar indicated tornado warning. That is for southwestern Chippewa, southeastern Dunn, northwestern Eau Claire, and northeastern Pepin counties until 4. So about 14 more minutes. At 3:30, so about 15 minutes ago, that storm was near Durand, moving northeast at 45. And a couple of small... Well, a tornado possible warning up in Aitkin County with 1.5 inch ping pong ball sized hail now in the warning. The warning is now mostly in, or the storm is mostly into Mille Lacs County and West Central Kanabec County. 60 mile an hour wind gust, quarter sized hail. Beyond that, still the tornado warning for radar indicated tornado up towards Rice. And that is actually now over Rice, or 16 miles north of St. Cloud, moving north at 45. So based on that, north at 45 from Rice, it's going to go north. It's going to split the difference between Piers and Little Falls. I think it was 35. Was it 35 or 45? I don't remember. Rice in 2 minutes. Wouter in 20. Belle Prairie in 36. And Freedom in 37. So not a lot up there. Little Falls, I would be watching this line of storms quite intently. No warning for you yet. And I say yet. There's that circulation over Rice that they are issuing this warning for right here. That is literally right over Rice. You can see that little divot right there. That is the rotation that they are warning for. Once for thunderstorm warning, way, way, way up there, up by Grand Forks, Thief River Falls area. So thunderstorm warnings all over southwestern Wisconsin into west central Wisconsin. Menominee, that's a radar indicated tornado warning for you in Dunn County still. As of about 6 minutes ago, that was 6 miles northwest of Menominee, moving northeast at 50. So that's going to be about over Menominee and quickly moving off to the northeast, moving the direction of Rice Lake. It's going to follow Wisconsin 25 pretty well, right up there to Barron. So, a hail core, strong hail core in west central Dunn County, over towards Elk Mound, between Elk Mound and Rock Falls. Quite actually a substantial hail core there, just east of or west of Eau Claire, north of Rock Falls, south of Elk Mound. There's a bit of rotation with that core down by Elk Mound. There's still some up towards Rusk, moving up towards Tainter. Otherwise, that rotation is seemingly weakened up some. It was much more intense earlier. And there's that extended tornado warning I was waiting for eastern Polk County. Capable of producing a tornado near Amory, or 34 miles north of River Falls, moving northeast at 50. And that was that warning I was expecting. Amory, Frederick, Luck, Clear Lake, Balsam, Milltown, McKinley, Range, Joel, Deronda, Wanderoos, and the Straight Lake Wilderness State Park. If you were near any of those areas, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. The storm does have a history of producing tornadoes. It produced a tornado near Roberts. And likely a couple of other spin-ups farther south back into east central Minnesota. Otherwise, far corner, southeast corner of Minnesota, Winona County and Houston County. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. There's a severe thunderstorm 11 miles east of Caledonia, moving north at 60. So 11 miles east of there, moving, yeah, that's that cell. And it poofed and died. So if you were in the Minnesota part of this warning, so if you were in Houston, I always forget the other counties down there, Winona County, Houston County, you're clear. Those storms have moved out. Excuse me. Still watching that tornado warning up towards Amory. Still showing pretty good sign of rotation considering how far we are from the radar. Excuse me. The farther we get from the radar, the harder it is to see the rotation. Just because the size of the block that the radar sees gets bigger and bigger. So the small scale details of a rotation get smaller and smaller. Or stay the same size, they're small. But with the size of the scan being bigger, it misses those small details. All right. Rotation still near Amory. That storm is currently ingesting another cell. It's ingesting this one. So again, we're going to have, will it be a constructive interface or will it be a destructive interface? Destructive means this storm that's coming in, it's getting pulled in, will destroy the circulation that's been near Amory. That storm will weaken. And this one may strengthen up, but usually when two storms interact like that and it's destructive, both storms weaken. If it's constructive, what will happen is the storm that's getting ingested from the east of Amory gets pulled into the circulation that's in the storm that's just west of Amory. That will strengthen that storm. And then you will get a stronger rotation with it, which of course increases your chances of tornadoes and more large hail and things of that nature. So I'm going to watch that storm for a little bit here. Watching it pull together like that, boy. Actually, right there meters south of Amory. It's hard to say. There's a couple of possible rotation spots in there, and I can't tell which one's which. Or which one would be the one to be worried about, I guess I should say. But sometimes that's half the battle. Oh. There we go. That's what I was wanting to see. All right, watching that circulation over Amory. Looks like it's gone. A couple of possible pockets of circulation. One is northwest of Amory, up between Amory and Balsam Lake. We've got another one down between Amory and Clear Lake, down here. Either way, neither of them look terribly impressive. Still have our 2 tornado warnings over by Eau Claire. Looking at those real quick. Both are radar indicated. Both moving northeast at 50 with this line of storms. Still have our radar indicated tornado warning over here in Stearns County, Benton County, Morrison County. That was for that storm that was over Rice about 10 minutes ago, moving north at 45. Boy, I'd be hard pressed to find that one. There's some weak rotation in a couple of spots there, but I don't know that I would get terribly excited about it. We do still have our severe thunderstorm warning in central Mille Lacs County into a bit of western Kennebec County. Another one in Aitkin County for 1.5 inch hail and tornado possible, 60 mile/hour winds. That expires in 5 minutes. Closer to home and in our area, we really only have 1 tornado warning left, and that is for Polk County up in Amory, moving up towards Luck. Yeah, Amory, Frederick, Luck, Clear Lake, Balsam Lake, Straight Lake Wilderness, Wanderoos. So if I'm in that area north of Amory between Balsam Lake and Turtle Lake, beautiful country up there. It's going to move up on cross 48 between Luck and McKinley. It'll cross over County Road W, and that will be the official end of the warning as it stands right now, but even up towards Clam Falls, I would definitely be keeping an eye on this storm. It is only radar indicated. It did produce a tornado earlier, backed by Roberts. Otherwise, the storm is it's trying, but it doesn't. There's enough interference with other cells around it that it seems to be struggling to try to hold itself together. Because that rotation was much stronger before. Now it's starting to strengthen back up. That last scan made a fool out of me. So just south of Balsam Lake, southeast of Balsam Lake, right there. So look at that. So that's the velocity. Now look at where it is in relation to the storm. Does that make sense? No. It's nestled in the hail core. I'm going to stop that actually and go right to the last image. There we go. So here's our rotation here. Here's 8. Yeah. That would actually be it. So it looks like the rotation may have jumped a little bit farther east. Again, that's that very strong southeasterly component aloft. It's going to be moving those storms. The line's moving to the northeast, but the storms themselves really want to try to go off to the northwest. That southeasterly flow. So right there, southeast of Balsam Lake, up towards Bunyan, Fox Creek. Depending on how the storm decides to go, even Milltown, Luck, up along County Road GG, County Road I, and 46, from Luck to Milltown down towards Balsam Lake. That whole area, you want to be taking this seriously. The warning does not extend as far east or as west as far as Frederick, but that rotation was looking tighter in the last scan. It looks like it's broadening out somewhat. Again, that does not mean that there cannot be a tornado. It just means that at this exact moment, the chances are lower. A couple of other little pockets of rotation northeast of Amory. Another one over here. That would be West Prairie Farm along County Road A. And then we have a couple of broad areas of rotation. One up here by Colfax. And then you've got another one that's east of Eau Claire, right about where Highway 12 comes off. 312 goes off. Otherwise, just that one warning left in Polk County. And now with the Weather Service has decided to do the big severe thunderstorm warning. Eastern Barron, Southern Rusk, Chippewa, Dunn, Eau Claire, and northeastern Pepin counties in Wisconsin until 4:45. Tornado possible, 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds, and that will cover Eau Claire, Menominee, Rice Lake, Chippewa Falls, Altoona, Lake Hallie, Stanley, Bloomer, Barron, Lake Wissota, Chetek, Cameron, Augusta, Cornell, Cadott, Fall Creek, Colfax, Elkmount, Bruce, and Boyd. And you want to seek shelter in a well-built structure away from windows. The storm is capable of producing damaging winds and large hail. And as we know, these storms can produce tornadoes with little to no warning. So you may or you may not get your tornado warning, your severe thunderstorm warning well in advance. The severe thunderstorm warnings are easier to get out ahead of time. It's the tornado warning that is harder to get because sometimes you just don't see it until it's almost on the ground. Still got that little bit of rotation kind of nestled in northeast of Balsam Lake. A couple of elongated smeary areas. One's north of Amory. One is northwest of Prairie Farm due south of Turtle Lake. None of those stand out and say, worry about me. The only one I'm even vaguely looking at would be the area northeast of Balsam Lake. That little weak rotation there could tighten up. It's not in the best location for it. It's not where I would expect rotation to be. But as we know, Mother Nature doesn't always care what we think it should be doing. She'll do what she wants to do. Taking a look at Duluth, because we're getting up that far where we can do that, or it'll show it. Duluth, looking high enough into the storm, really does not show any rotation whatsoever. Yeah, there's some broad rotation around Eau Claire. Little bit of rotation east of Tainter, looking at the Duluth radar. I'm going to jump back and pull up Minneapolis again. So I think it's Minneapolis. That might actually be La Crosse. That is La Crosse. Okay. So looking at the La Crosse radar, a nice pocket of wind here. And that tornado warning that was in effect northwest of Eau Claire in the Menominee and Dunn County up towards Rice Lake, that has been allowed to expire. So now there's just that severe thunderstorm warning that runs from Rice Lake to Menominee, down towards Mondovi and east, all the way over towards Cornell, almost down to Osseo, Thornapple, Ruby, Stanley. You're in that warning. We now just have the one tornado warning up in Polk County. And they have not issued an update on that, which is a bit surprising. Yeah, we've had some more tornado reports come in from this activity down by Roberts. At 3:30, so 32 minutes ago, 3 northwest of Hammond, tornado on the ground 4 to 5 miles north of House, moving north-northeast. So that would be this storm over here, which would be the deputy reported tornado on the ground north of Roberts along 110th. And then there was another one right along 63. And St. Croix, 7 miles south of Deer Park, Wisconsin, forward of an ongoing tornado via amateur radio. So it was a trained spotter sent that one in. Why? I feel like I jumped backward in time because things are not where they should be. There we go. I'm like, why is that storm still back over New Richmond? There we go. And again, if you're looking at that storm up by Balsam Lake, it's kind of got that big blob look. But if we zoom in a bit, Turtle Lake, Balsam Lake, Amory area, there's a tiny little bit of rotation north of Balsam Lake. But if we look at the actual radar signature, it's about in the right place. So this is where we cheat a little bit. There we go. Thank you for jumping current. Yep, just north of Balsam Lake. Though, this little blip northwest of Amory along Highway 8. There are a couple spots in this that I don't quite trust. So I'm going to split. I'm going to go back to non-split mode. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go, whoops. Plus reflectivity. Tilt 2. So this is going to tilt the radar up a little bit. I want to see what it shows. Okay, so I got a message from someone that, so Turtle Lake there's that little blip up here, which is looking weaker and weaker. This area down here, southwest of Balsam Lake, north of Amory, that's not looking particularly impressive. Tornado warning up towards Crow Wing County and Benton County. That has been allowed to expire. So that's storm up by Rice. And right now there are no tornado warnings in the state of Minnesota. We have a few severe thunderstorm warnings, mostly in northwestern Minnesota, towards Thief River Falls, up towards Carlstad, Greigola, Red Lake Falls, and then up here, Detroit Lakes, White Earth, Mahnomen. And we just have a new, that's that, okay. Severe thunderstorm warning up here in Aitkin County still. Tornado possible, tag on that, 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's for southeastern Aitkin, northwestern Pine, and southwestern Carleton counties. That is 10 miles southeast of McGrath, or 12 miles northwest of Hinckley, moving north at 40. There'll be mainly rural areas, including Dad's Corner, Grindstone Lake, Pine County, Denham, Arthide, Ronald, and Finlayson. And as somebody who's camped and hiked in that area, yeah, there's not a lot out there. It's wonderful. And Duluth has now issued a severe thunderstorm warning for central Pine County, southwestern Washburn, and Burnett counties in Wisconsin until 4:30. That is for our storm that is near Amory, and that is a line from 7 miles southwest of Trade Lake to near Milltown to near Clayton, moving north at 55. So that is this area here, which is our storm in Amory. Excuse me. So they're getting the warning out ahead on that one. It's also going to include this cell right here, but the big thing is this tornadic complex right here that really is still severe, but it's not really doing anything. I'm going to take a big look backwards here. Okay, so Olivia, the front has gone through. Wilmer, the cold front has gone through. I'm looking farther back. Looking to see if I can still see the dry line, or I wonder if the cold front's caught up to it. That's the dry line there. That's what's... And it's clouded back over here. Interesting. So that line that's running Little Falls down towards Foley, down towards... Oh, what is that down there? Zimmerman, Orrock. And then back up towards Motley. That is the dry line. So that's where the drier air comes in. We're getting that just now coming through here in northeastern Hennepin County, which is why we're starting to cloud back up again. We were in that little pocket behind. We're in the warm sector, and now we're in the dry line. So once that line goes through, I want to call it imaginary line, 'cause it's very solid. But you can also see it. South St. Paul has a south-southeast wind, but Osceola has a southeast wind. Red Wing is due south. So what's that telling you is even here in Casson, no, Dodge Center actually, dew point's down to 43. Dew point's 49 in Owatonna. That's that dry air rushing in, and it will quickly catch up. Flying Cloud, 82 degrees, dew point 48. But look up here, Blaine, 75 with the dew point 63. Lake Elmo, dew point 66. 68 at South St. Paul downtown. So it's all but over here in the metro. And unless something starts really picking up in its look here on this storm in Polk County, I think this is going to be about the end of our coverage. Yeah, that Polk County storm is definitely... There's still that little tiny bit of rotation right up here, just east of Luck along Wisconsin 48. That'll track up, paralleling County Road I to the west, moving up towards Lewis. But kind of looking where that county line is. Frederick and Clam Falls, you're still in Polk County. Once we get north of that, once we get north of County Road E, that will move into the Duluth County warning area. It's really kind of out of our area too. Polk County is one of those. It touches Washington County, so we kind of include it, but really, by doing that, we really should include Chisago and Isanti County in our coverage too. And then it becomes feature creep. It's like, how many counties do I want to try to juggle at once? But it is what it is. We're there. And like I said, I'm looking at this. I'm not seeing anything. Weather Service has not updated the warning. It expires in 5 minutes. So unless they pull it... Oh, we have a tornado warning in Eau Claire. Radar indicated, was issued about 5 minutes ago, south central Chippewa, northwestern Eau Claire County. Capable of reducing a tornado near Altoona, or 5 miles southeast of Eau Claire, moving north at 40. So that'll go just east of downtown Eau Claire. But Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, Altoona, Lake Hallie, Lake Wissota. So 2 very big recreation areas. Seymour, Eau Claire Airport, and Bateman are in the path of this storm. If you're on Lake Harry or Lake Hallie or Lake Wissota, seek shelter now. Not in a couple of minutes. Not when you think it's going to look darker and scarier. Do it now. And that tornado warning for Polk County was allowed to expire. Actually, they canceled it early. So at this point, we have nothing left in our Twin Cities metropolitan area for coverage. The dry line has moved through most of the metro core itself. Again, I'm waiting to see the wind shift here in northeastern Hennepin County as we go from a south wind to a southwest wind. It has not happened quite yet. I can look upstream at Crystal. It has not shifted yet either. But Crystal will also give us a new update here in a couple of minutes. But for now, again, I got to spend some quality time streaming nothing. There wasn't a lot going on, but that's okay. It's how we like it sometimes. So thank you everyone for joining us here at Black Sheep Weather. It has been an enjoyable afternoon. And if you can, get out and enjoy this little couple of hours we get before the cold front comes through. It's still warm, but it's drying out nicely. And so if you have a chance to get out and take a walk in the park, get out in the like Elm Creek Park Preserve or like French Park and just get a little bit of a walk in, do it. It's going to get colder and a lot chillier here the next few days. Black Sheep, we will not be issuing consistent updates across the weekend. Unfortunately, I have to be out of state for a funeral, and then I am attending a family member's, my dad's birthday. He turned 78. So we will be out of state for that. Otherwise, we will see you back on Monday. And thank you again, everyone.